When I was a teenager, I struggled with severe acne that felt like it took over my entire life. My face was covered in painful swollen pimples, blackheads, and scars that seemed to appear out of nowhere. No matter what I tried, medicines, creams, even home remedies, it never seemed to get better. It was beyond frustrating, and honestly, it felt like a constant reminder of how different I was from everyone else. But what made things worse wasn't just the acne itself. It was how people around me, particularly one person, treated me because of it. It was my mom. She never once believed me when I told her it was just acne. I would try to explain the stress I was going through, how it hurt both physically and emotionally, how I didn't feel like myself anymore, but none of that mattered. She just looked at my face with a look of disbelief and growing concern. Then one day, she hit me with something that I will never forget. She suspected I was using crystal meth. At first, I was shocked. I couldn't even fathom why she would think that. But she was insistent, her voice trembling as she told me my acne didn't look like normal teenage breakouts. She seemed convinced that it was something much darker. My heart dropped as she showed me pictures of meth addicts, people whose faces were ravaged by their addiction, covered in scabs, with hollowed cheeks and skin that looked like it was slowly falling apart. I remember staring at the images in disbelief, feeling my chest tighten with a mixture of anger and shame. She told me that my acne didn't look like the typical teenage kind, that it was exactly like what she saw on those images of drug users. She said it in such a way that made me feel like I was hiding some terrible secret, as if I had betrayed her. She couldn't possibly believe that it was just acne. No, not her child. There had to be something more sinister behind it. My face was proof, it seemed. She drilled me with questions, accusations, about whether I'd been using drugs, and nothing I said could shake her conviction. I was devastated. Here I was, struggling with something that I couldn't control, and the person who was supposed to love and support me was only pushing me further away, accusing me of something I had never even considered. That moment, that feeling of being misunderstood and misjudged, stuck with me. It wasn't just about acne anymore. It was about the sense of isolation that grew deeper as she turned her back on me, convinced I was living a double life. Update. So, I never really thought I'd come back and share more, but after reading the comments and messages, I feel like I should continue the story. It's been a few months since that incident, and things have gotten complicated. After my mom confronted me about the acne and the whole meth accusation, things between us became really tense. It was like there was this invisible wall between us that didn't exist before. I tried to talk to her, to explain again and again that it was just acne, but she wouldn't hear it. She just kept bringing up the same pictures, the same comparisons. The worst part was when she started telling other people in the family. At first, I was so angry. I couldn't believe she'd do that. But then I started to feel a deep sense of helplessness. My own mom thought I was hiding a drug addiction, and no matter what I said, no matter how many times I told her I hadn't touched anything, it felt like I was just digging myself deeper into a hole. The more I tried to explain, the more she seemed to doubt me. It felt like everything I said was falling on deaf ears. The situation reached a breaking point when one of my cousins, someone I'd always gotten along with, called me to check on me. They told me they were worried because my mom had told them about my supposed struggles. It felt like the entire family was now looking at me with suspicion. It was like being trapped in a nightmare where the more I tried to fight back, the more people believed the worst. But things did start to change when I finally managed to get an appointment with a dermatologist. I had been putting it off because of the expense, and honestly, I didn't think it would help. But after weeks of tension with my mom and everyone else thinking the worst, I was ready to do anything to prove I wasn't lying. The dermatologist confirmed what I had suspected all along. My acne wasn't anything extreme. It was just really bad teenage acne. They prescribed me some stronger meds and reassured me that it would clear up with time. So I came home that day with the diagnosis, feeling a small sense of relief, thinking it would be enough to put my mom's fears to rest. But when I told her, it wasn't the warm embrace I expected. She just nodded silently and said, "Well, I guess that's good, but I still don't understand why it got this bad." Her skepticism was still there, even after all the evidence. Things are better now, but only by a little. She's not accusing me of meth use anymore, but there's still a weird tension in the air. I think part of her feels guilty for not believing me, but I also feel like there's a part of her that's still not fully convinced. It's like she's trying to act like everything's okay, but there's an unspoken question lingering between us. I don't know if things will ever be the same again, but at least I'm finally starting to feel like I have some control over my skin again. The acne is starting to get better with the treatment, which is a huge relief, but the emotional scars of what happened, I'm not sure those will fade as quickly. Thanks to everyone who sent messages of support. I'm still trying to work through this, but I really appreciate all the kind words and advice. I'll keep you updated as things progress. Final update. Hey everyone, I just wanted to come back one last time and give you all the final update on this. I've been thinking a lot about everything that's happened, and honestly, I feel like I've finally come to a place where I can reflect on it without so much anger or pain. A lot has changed since that last post. My skin has improved significantly. The medication from the dermatologist worked wonders, and I can't even begin to describe how good it feels to look in the mirror without feeling disgusted by the acne staring back at me. It wasn't a quick fix, nothing ever is with acne, but it's better, and that's been a huge relief. But the bigger change has been with my relationship with my mom. After everything that happened, the accusations, the mistrust, the tension, it's taken a while for us to get back to any semblance of normal. For a long time, I thought things would never be the same. The emotional damage was deep. I felt betrayed, misunderstood, and isolated. It felt like no matter what I did, I couldn't get her to fully believe me or accept the truth. I'm not going to lie. There were moments when I was ready to give up on trying to repair our relationship. The emotional toll it took on me was exhausting, and I couldn't shake the feeling that my mom would always doubt me in some way. But over time, something shifted. It wasn't a sudden change. It was gradual. My mom started to come around. It started with small things. She'd see me getting better, both physically and emotionally, and she'd start asking how the treatment was going, how I was feeling. She'd give me these little looks that said she was sorry, saying it without actually saying it. I could tell she felt guilty about what happened. I know it must have been hard for her, too, to see me so hurt and not know how to help. I can't pretend it didn't sting when she still questioned me back then, but I'm learning to let go of the anger. We had a heart-to-heart a few weeks ago. I think we both realized we were carrying this weight around, trying to pretend like things were okay when they weren't. She admitted that she was scared. Scared because she didn't know what was happening to me, and scared that I was hiding something from her. I told her how much it hurt to feel like she didn't trust me. It wasn't just the acne. It was the feeling of being accused of something I wasn't even doing. I could tell she was really listening this time. I'll be honest, we'll never fully go back to the way things were before. The trust was shaken, and I think that's something we both have to rebuild over time. But we're trying. There's no magical solution, no moment that suddenly makes everything okay. But there's an effort now, a real, genuine effort on both sides to understand each other better. As for me, I've learned to be kinder to myself. The acne was hard, but the emotional scars from how it was handled were even harder. I'm still working through some of those feelings, but I've realized that I don't need to prove myself to anyone. I know the truth about what happened, and I've got the strength to keep moving forward, no matter what anyone thinks. I want to thank all of you who reached out, gave advice, and shared your own stories. It really helped me feel less alone, and it gave me the strength to push through some of the darker moments. I'm doing better now, and I feel like I can finally move on from this chapter in my life. This is the last update, and I really appreciate all the support. Thanks again for everything.